Horace Grant came out strong today in The Last Dance. I mean, he was one, Scottie Pippen doesn't look the greatest. Isaiah Thomas obviously took some arrows early. Jerry Krause and Horace Grant. MJ said he was the main source for Sam Smith's book, The Jordan Rules. And ESPN Chicago had Horace Grant on radio today, and here's what Horace went. He went off. Here he is.
As I stated to everybody, that is a downright, outright, completely lie. Lie. And as I stated, if MJ had a grudge with me, let's settle it like, man, let's talk about it, or we can settle it another way. I have never seen, quote unquote, a number 2 guy as decorated as Scottie Pippen portrayed so badly in terms of the migraine, in terms of the 1.6 or 7 seconds. Selfish. I have never seen this in all of my life. When that so-called documentary is about one person, basically, and he has the last word on what's going to be put out there, it's not a documentary. It's his narrative of what happened in the last quote-unquote dance. He said, I was a snitch, but yet and still after 30 or 35 years, he brings up his rookie year going into one of his teammates' room and seeing coke and weed and women. My point is, why in the hell did he want to bring that up? What's that got to do with anything? If you want to call somebody a snitch, that's a damn snitch right there. 90% of it was, I don't know if I can say it on air, but BS. It wasn't real because a lot of things that he said to some of his teammates went back at him, but all of that was kind of edited out of the documentary, if you want to call it a documentary. It's only a grudge, man. I'm telling you, it was only a grudge. And I think he proved that during this so-called documentary when if you say something about him, he's going to cut you off. He's going to try to destroy your character. Charles Barkley, they've been friends for over 20, 30 years, and he said something about Michael's management with the Charlotte Bobcats or the Charlotte Hornets, and then they haven't spoken since then.
Fire!
Can I go first?
Yes, you can go first.
Horace Grant, sit down! Please, sit down. I hate to break it to you. Nobody cares about the rest of the players. Michael Jordan crushed LeBron, crushed the whole idea that he is the GOAT, whether people like it or not or how he did it. He did. Look at the polls of what happened after this was all put out there. Michael said he wasn't going to look good even prior to this because he knew what was in it. Nobody turned away. Nobody went and said, boo-hoo. How did he make Scottie Pippen look bad? Those were facts. Somebody help Sam Smith. Somebody, Horace Grant. Stop it. And this whole notion, no, this was Michael Jordan. And the reality of who he is, petty as hell. That is Michael Jordan, but he's damn good. You can't deny it. We saw the video. If he wanted to hide stuff, how is he a snitch? He didn't name anybody in the room with the girls and the coke and the weed. That's a snitch. He talked about what was going on and how he decided not to be a part of it. Horace Grant, stop the belly aching. That's why you were on your way out and you had to go elsewhere. Now you're going to look back and say, what? Somebody gave Sam Smith information. There must be a reason that he would put your name and not any other player's name out there that maybe he was able to figure it out. That's the only thing. Michael Jordan was raw, was naked, and put himself out there. This is the same guy who got up on the Hall of Fame stage and ripped everybody in his career who got in his way. And even hit the guy who beat him out for the last spot on the high school basketball team and his high school coach and called them all out by names. How in the world could you be surprised by this or what he did to Isaiah Thomas or what he said about Isaiah Thomas? Michael Jordan was real, whether you liked it or not. But Horace Grant, just step back. Nobody tuned in for The Last Dance to hear about anybody other than the GOAT, the greatest of all time. I rest my case.
Rob Parker, I agree. And I'm glad you didn't. I'm glad you didn't use my catchphrase so that I can use it. Horace Grant, stop it! And now I'm gonna give one caveat for Horace.
Okay.
If this is a big if indeed he was not one of the sources for the Jordan Rules book, then he's got legitimate beef in that instance. He's got legitimate beef. Now, Rob, being a reporter, I think he was probably one of the sources. Yeah, I don't think he was necessarily the main one. I think Phil Jackson was probably a source. I think Jerry Krause and maybe Reinsdorf. And I think Horace was probably a source, a source. Not necessarily the main one, but, a source.
We both know Sam Smith for a long time, both of us. I'm not saying that we're blood brothers, but we know Sam Smith for a long time. I guarantee you he had more than one source for that book.
Well,
I guarantee you.
Horace even said it. Horace, that's one thing we didn't play, but Horace said you need two sources for a book, so why just call out me? So Horace maybe snitched on himself a little bit.
He did. That's
and
exactly
I think
what
he
he's
was
saying.
one of them. And again, so I don't think he was the main source. But if Jordan, that's my only area where I would side with Horace. If indeed he was not a source at all, then I'll give him that. Otherwise, as you said, come on, Scottie Pippen, they didn't make anything up. It all happened. I agree with you. The drug situation, that's a teachable moment. You know how many kids succumb to drugs because of peer pressure?
If he would have said, Scotty Burrell and Horace Grant were in there and whatever, and I was like, I ain't going to be. Now that's different.
Yes.
That was like the Kobe moment with Shaq. You remember?
Right.
Let's be honest, right, Chris?
That's right. That's right.
Shaq pays his women. You remember?
Yeah.
That's snitching on somebody. I'm sorry.
I agree. He did not say names. And I talked to Charles Oakley yesterday. And Oak was like, Oak got there Jordan's second year. He's like, yeah, it was drugs all over the place. He's like, now I would be in the room with him. I would stay in the room. Mike wouldn't go in the room. I would stay in the room, but I wouldn't do the drugs, So, I mean, Jordan was just, and Oakley didn't give names either. He went after other people, though, in other ways, but you'll see that on social media, too. But I'm with you, Rob, and this just sounds like sour grapes. I mean, he's right. We can all admit it wasn't an unauthorized
we knew that going in.
Truth
we
documentary.
Knew it going in.
Yeah, we all give you that. But it was entertaining. It was great. And if somebody wants to come along and do an absolutely unauthorized documentary on Jordan, that'd be great. We'd love to see it. But you ain't going to get Jordan to participate.
Exactly.
And
you're just not.
It is what it is. But here's the other thing that I would say about Horace, and again, we didn't play this part. A story came out. Sam Smith told it on the radio a few days ago or maybe last week. And then Horace admitted today it was true. They were on the plane from a game, and, they eat on the plane, Rob. You know that. The charter planes. And Jordan had apparently told the stewardesses or whatever you want to call them, it was a chartered flight, but, don't give Horace any food because he played like crap. And Horace admits that was true. And Horace said, I went back at MJ and I said, my piece, and he didn't move and, all that. And I'm like, but apparently Horace didn't eat. And I'm going to say this to all of the people on that plane. That is a shame. Horace Grant, number one, should have stood up and said, I'm eating. You ain't got to fight ain't nobody going to fight on the plane, most likely. It's happened a few times, but you go up there, you get your food. If the stewardess won't give it to you, you get your food. You walk by Jordan with the food in your hand.
Let me tell you something.
And
if
Phil Jackson,
I take the food and spill it in Michael Jordan's lap and tell how you gonna stop me from eating? You and my mama.
Somebody should. Yeah, a coach. Horace should have stood up himself, but Phil Jackson should have said something. The other players should have said something. The stewardess should have been
stop
like,
a man from eating,
right.
Chris?
But my point is, Horace, you talking bad right now. Why didn't you get some food? Like you said, whether you're going to eat it, walk by him like I said, or you're going to dump it in his face or whatever, you should eat. And Jordan was wrong for that. You can say it jokingly, but the dude should be able to eat. But I don't care how good you are, right? He's the GOAT. We all know it. Ain't nobody that good.
Exactly. Ain't
Where
nobody.
Phil Jackson.
Nobody.
I'm going to be honest, and I'm not saying I'm the biggest, baddest dude in the land. I'm not all that. But I can't imagine myself sitting there on a team and being like, hold up, Mike. Look, no. Horace, get some food. This is ridiculous. Like, you can't, I'm sorry. That Horace should have stood up for himself, and the other players and people on that plane should have stood up for him.
A grown man is going to sit there and take that. There's only two people, Chris, who could send you to bed without dinner. That's your mother and father who tell you whatever you ain't do or whatever, no dinner. Those are the only two people.
And
nobody else. And you're a child, not a grown man.
Point, you're a grown man. Even they can't do
But
that
I'm just saying, those would be the only people. And you're a kid. Man, I'm just curious. Anybody going to side with Horace Grant on this? I'm curious.
All right, well, let's see. Was Horace Grant justified for ripping Michael Jordan the way he did today? 877-99 on Fox.
All right, let's kick it off with Marcus in California. You're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Marcus?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Great, man. How are you?
Good. Okay, with the Horace Grant, I don't think he's sour grapes. I think there's two sides to every story. And when it comes to Michael Jordan, people only want to hear about the good part. And if you mention anything negative, they look at you as a hater. Michael
Wait
Jordan.
a minute, Marcus.
They did mention negative. They talked about the bullying of teammates. They talked about the gambling.
They showed it.
Right?
There's nothing but bad stuff in there about what Michael did. What didn't you see? Calling his teammates H's and B's?
Right.
They could have kept that out.
No. You not get what I'm saying. But it gets worse than that. It gets worse than that. And that's
what do you mean? Right.
No, what I mean is this. When everybody talks about Mike, they make it seem like it's job suicide if you have something negative to say.
Say something. Go ahead and say something. What's there to say?
Yes.
Tell us
For an example, everybody knows that Michael Jordan got secretly suspended.
No, everybody doesn't know. Everybody
does
not know that.
Have you seen any evidence? It's
Show us the
obviously a
paperwork.
rumor. Yeah,
yes.
and I know Rob believes it, but there's no evidence.
I can't even sit here and say that, Chris. It's a rumor.
Yeah.
There's no evidence. Nobody can report that. Everybody knows that. Stop it.
It's been 30 years. And again, Rob believes it, and some other well-respected journalists believe it. I don't believe it, and other well-respected journalists don't believe it. It's been 30 years, and there's nothing to come out. I mean, come on.
But we can't go with a story where we don't have any facts.
Right.
We don't have any information. So that we have to discount that. Curtis in California, you're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Curtis?
Hey, I'm glad I followed up from this other guy from California. Let me just tell you this. That move, I'm a corrections officer out here. I'm not going to tell you what institution I work, but I work a level 3 yard. That's a classic punk move, that Horace Grant. That's the first thing they do in intake is take your tray, take your shoes, take your clothing, what little bit of items you have, and if you don't stand up, you're done. You're done. It's all over the yard. You can't go anywhere on the yard because they know, hey, this guy ain't going to stand up for himself. So if that did happen, I really feel bad for Horace. But I'm a Michael Jordan fan. I have no problems with what Michael did. Like you said, Michael said when the documentary started, hey, people might not like me. But
he said it.
One thing I don't what I don't like real quick is I don't like all these LeBron haters, lovers, making up all these excuses. Look, LeBron's not done yet. When he retires, maybe we can go ahead and discuss it. But Michael is the greatest of all time. I don't think I don't think LeBron could have played in that era. And I was kind of surprised when I watched ESPN the other day when they talked to B.J. Armstrong. He said, they said, hey, pick a player who you think could play in the era when you guys played. And he picked Klay Thompson. And one other point.
Wow.
I hate it when all these guys got all these
Curtis,
You were rolling.
Thanks for the call.
He was fine. Curtis was on the money, but don't tell me LeBron couldn't have played in the 80s. Come on.
Right, he would have played.
Or 90s. I mean, come on. And been great.
Tony in Delaware, you're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Tony? Tony's gone. Okay, he's gone. Mark in Sacramento, you're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Mark?
What's going on, gentlemen? How you guys today?
Good, man. How are you?
Pretty good. Of course, this is sour grapes, man. You know what? He had a chance to sit back and hear people talk about his food getting taken. You guys stole my thunder. They took his food from him. I would have took Michael Jordan's food and punched him in the face. He tried to stop me from eating after a game. That don't happen. There would have been a fight on that plane. I didn't understand that part of it. So I think he feels bad, and now he wants to stand up a few days after it's over and act big and bad. How come he didn't fight for his food? That's the only thing I'm saying. This is sour grapes. He's looking bad because he got his food taken, and that's just how that is. I mean, that's right there. We all saw it. He admitted to it. Man, he didn't let me eat on the plane. No, you didn't let yourself eat.
Right.
You should have took that food.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I can't. And now you're talking about we can settle it some other way. Like,
right.
Man, I mean, come on. And again, I feel Horace had to be the one to stand up for his own rep, right? But somebody else should have done it too. It still would have looked bad on Horace that, Phil had to let you eat or, another teammate had to step up.
Chris,
but
you know what? I'm telling you, I don't care who it is, the biggest guy in the schoolyard. There comes a time when you have to stand up for yourself.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I've told the story, but Lou Piniella is one of the most fiery managers in the history of Major League Baseball. Came screaming at me, 6'4" of Lou Piniella, big, screaming, yelling, right? There was my moment, Chris. Either I had to cower and bow down or stand up to him.
Right.
I stood up to him.
Yeah.
If I didn't, what would have happened in that clubhouse, Chris? None of those players would respect me. Am I right? None.
Right. And I'll be honest, when I've been in situations like that, when you stand up to somebody, they respect you.
They do.
A lot of times they may be blowing smoke, like they hate you, this and that. But you stand up to him. Sometimes they back down. Sometimes they won't back down, but they'll respect you. They'll just be like, okay, all right, give you your respect. I'm sure that's what happened with Lou Piniella. So, that you're absolutely right about that.